Oh, that's a good one.
A different culture, a different ideologies.
Mental health is really important.
Be like I was in my 30s, and I had exuberant energy.
Definitely be more introspective and be brave in looking.
Boom, man. That's
And hi, everyone. And I am back with Carl for another strong, happy, healthy, loved podcast. A little bit different today because we thought we're at our number 10, a little bit of a celebration for us. So welcome, Carl. Here we are again.
Thanks, John. What a pleasure to be on the show again with you
Yes.
again. Third time, eh? That's cool, man.
And I think it's interesting because we have 2 months in and we're stepping down some paths and playing with some ideals. And, you and I talk regularly. So I thought, well, why not get on a chat today and kind of peel back some of the layers? Because it's one thing to promote an ideal, but if people don't know why we're doing it, how it started, and what we're asking for, because this is nothing without support. And I think you and I are in this position now, and things have changed in the last couple of months. What was month one was like is different to month two. And we talk about the future. And I think we've reversed engineered our experience that we have all these things in place and yet potentially haven't been found yet, or people don't know what it is, or sitting back, watching, observing. So, interesting.
That's it, John. What are we? A lot of people probably say, what are they? What are they trying to do? Sell t-shirts, talk about themselves, talk about other people,
What
Who
is
are we?
strong,
What are
happy,
we
healthy
doing?
love?
Yeah.
I mean, is it a religious context? Is it something that we want to push, that we're trying to tell everybody this? Yeah. So where would you like to start? I mean, we've got this platform, and
Well,
we've always said, hey, we should record our phone calls, and now we're recording our conversations. So let's do it.
yeah, but out of it all right. So what are we and where do we want to go? I guess is a really good question. Wow, strong, happy, healthy, loved is a vibration, I think,
Mm.
and it's what vibration resonates with you, I guess. And it's not always happy, healthy, strong and loved. It can be any of those things. It can be it's as we've found out with this company, I guess, is a bit of a healing process, really, eh? Some days you think it's going good, and other days you're like, what have I created? So, along with it comes a lot of responsibility. So, I think we're a vibration and a movement of positive self-talk and letting everybody know that, everyone's got a story and we all suffer and we all have our ups and downs. Have you got anything else to add on to that, John?
We're just getting started. Um, yeah, and look, I add to that. It's a practice. I mean, the
Mm,
fact that each day my ideals of strength change. The ideals of strength in my body, the idea of my convictions have strength. Sometimes I'm changing the ideals of my relationships or my financial process. It doesn't always feel as strong or attractive. My ideals of what happiness is and changes, and the healthiness of it. Loved, that's the anchor point. I like the fact that it's at the end, and when I have that, and that's the, I guess, the wanting to share. Um, we can be loved. We can have love for ourselves. We can have love for other people. I think sometimes the fact that some of these ideals are what we can give to other people and provide that platform or inspiration. I mean, I throughout my whole life, all I've ever done is read books or watch TV, the movies, all these opportunities to see these figures in my life that I'm like,
mm,
man, I want that. I want to be like that. I mean, Arnold was a big one for me, and some of the things that, and again, doesn't necessarily have to relate to the strong, happy, healthy, loved, but they're anchored in those virtues that I'm still, now that I've found what I want, I just practice them every day. And I guess it's my trust and my belief that when people have these concepts and are playing with them, that they become easier over time to use, because it's one thing to find what it is you want, and then it's another whole thing to maintain it for the rest of time. It's a lot simpler, but certainly no easier.
No, and I suppose I've had to do a bit of self-reflection and things like that as the company's moved on, and why? Why have I created this company? I had to ask myself that question quite a few times. I thought I knew the answer, and it wasn't until I really looked deep. And the why is I want to succeed, and I want people to be proud of me, and I want to be proud of myself. And I think that's um, the reason why I started this company. And then it sort of went from there, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have a calling. I think that's where a lot of people potentially struggle. I know, Tim Fisk talked about it on his time on the channel, that, especially sometimes for men, it's a purpose.
Mm.
We need a purpose. I mean, women sometimes get that through being a mother, and not saying that's better or worse, but I think when you grow this child in you and you birth it, I mean, you're incredibly responsible that you now have a purpose. You're a mum. And yet as a father, I mean, our role is potentially quite easy or simple to start the process. And how do we become a dad? And in the meantime, potentially those ideals of going back out to work and continue to grow and succeed. So, I mean, from my point of view, I can only deal with the identity as the masculine, that I want a purpose. I want to feel needed. I want to serve, or I choose to serve.
Yeah, and that's exactly on point, mate. It's purpose. I think that's the driving motivation for anything, really. If you feel like it's purposeful, you go out and do it. And I feel purpose in what we're creating. The feedback's certainly nice to start getting now about it, and I'd like to create purpose for other people as well. And I think you hit the nail on the head there with creating purpose, mate.
Well, you did for me. So that's what I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah.
And it's nice to include. I think when we do share and we bring that inclusiveness in, I mean, there's nothing worse than exclusivity. I think that's why humor falls flat sometimes, because it's exclusive and we're laughing or we're pointing the finger or we're judging and someone feels left out. I think part of this beauty is that whatever your ideals of the strong, happy, healthy, loved, it's inclusive. We're not laughing and saying, hey, you have to be this to fit in. You have to have that to wear the moniker, or this to have the T-shirt on. We're not selling the brand as opposed to the prejudice.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with that. It's not an everyday thing as well. Even sometimes I wake up in the morning and I put my clothes on and I don't feel those words today. But that's life, we have our ups and downs, and it's a big roller coaster, None of us are going to get out of it alive.
That's the truth, isn't it? So having that togetherness, and I know someone in your life says that sometimes when they're having a challenge and they put the T-shirt on, it makes them feel better, and then they feel more of those vibrations that we're exemplifying. So I mean that's a real tick in the box for this brand and this experience, what we want to share. And I think we've talked about it over the years, about finding ways to share and include this connection with people from children and parents and families and groups. And just it's your birth child. I mean, you thought of these things. So I mean, I guess for a bit of context, can you just tell the audience, what strong, happy, healthy, loved is, and where it came from, and the birth of that?
Well, it's to everybody, I guess it's just words when you would just first look at it. But there's more meaning to that. It's a vibration, but initially it was for me, it was 4 words that I wanted to feel in my life, and at the time I didn't really feel like I had it, and so it became a mantra, and that's what I kept saying to myself over and over when I was doing my breathing routines and things like that, and then that would give me an uplift in itself, just saying those words to myself. And then when I started saying them out loud to people as well, I would see the twinkle in their eye, and people would say, "Oh, all of those words, or one of those words, or three of those words, or loved," or and for me, I think on my first podcast, I went on about the word love quite a bit. That was obviously an evolution I was going through at the time, but really, all of those words are important in different times. Just of recently, strength has been a big one for me. Mental health strength, with the strength when I just can't be asked and think it's a waste of time, but then I just push myself and do these things, go to the gym, or send some emails. I tell you what, I ain't no admin guru, and it used to be a massive trigger for me. And now I've created a company that all I have to do is a lot of admin. So, a lot of computer work and paperwork. So that's that. You have to go into, for me anyway, I have great growth in doing the things that I'm scared of doing, talking on camera, talking in front of people, that sort of stuff. For me, that's where my growth comes from, when I do things that I'm scared to do.
And it does. And we've talked about the risk. And if you play it safe, and for a lot of people, it's a daily routine, getting up and doing all the things the way you've done them, and the weekend comes, can't wait to have this time for me, and you do those things that you love to do. And if we were to add something else in, and that was a little bit left of center and a little bit exposing, and hey, do you want to come and do this? And I think when you're not good at it, and you're not necessarily comfortable with it, it's sometimes that sense of like, oh, look, just leave it with me, and I'll have a think about it. And you got those people going, you know what? Yeah, man, let's try it. And I think that's when setting up a company. I mean, there's one thing registering a business and you're running off an ABN, and now you're running a company, and now you have board of directors, and then we're running staff meetings, and then we're taking the minutes, and then you've got to run this admin, and then you're running a channel, and you've got deadlines for yourself. I mean, it just, for me anyway, it changes the paradigm of, well, why am I doing this? And it's not for anybody else but me, because it's my process. And like you're saying, for you, that's leadership. And when we step into that leadership role, then I think there's an accountability that if I don't do it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, it's like, how's it going to work? How's anybody else going to look at me? So there's a standard, and that's pressure. And then a lot of these things going, well, you were strong, happy, healthy, love potentially before, but now how does it look? Does it start to change? The happiness quotient goes down. And then I start doing things that are unhealthy. And then I start to not feel as strong. And then this love factor starts to diminish. And it's like, oh, shit. I'm revamping some of the stuff. And it constantly becomes a daily practice for me that I see that, where am I tracking? Am I going well? And it used to be in the day that if I went to the gym, I could have one good workout, that would eclipse anything else. I could have a crap day, but a good workout, good day, right? And if I had a great day with a shit workout, but that's a different ideology.
Yeah.
Now I find getting up and getting cracking and getting the things out of the way that are sitting there that need to be attended to, as well as all the other, and fitting all that stuff in. It's amazing what you can achieve when you're busy.
And routine. Yeah. And routine, I think, is for me personally, is a good one's routine. Getting up, making your bed, it's a good start. It's a good start to the day if you make your bed. Have, do something for yourself, a bit of personal hygiene, a cold shower. Just those three things right there can start the day. And, opposed to, oh, I don't have to get up. I might just stare at my phone for a couple of hours and then slowly get up, and it's too late to have a shower now, and all that sort of stuff. That day's not going to go anywhere. You got to get up early when the birds are chirping and crack on and have that motivation at the start. But if you don't have it when you wake up, you can get that from a cold shower.
And look, there's a lot of people, and this is the broad subject around, what about people that do shift work? What about people that have a lot of trauma in their life, or they're dealing with pressure? And there's, as we're seeing, the mental health quotient. If your mental health isn't where it can be, and by finding those little wins, I know for me, I have little rituals every day, little kind of routines that set a tone. And even if I feel 5 or 10% better than I did, I feel like that's a win. I feel like that's something I can play with. And so I know moving forward, we want to bring more daily shares and more podcasts with people that people can relate to, and family things and individual things for different mental health aspects.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's when you find it for yourself, that's a winner. That's a big game changer for me. And so I feel like you and I, we get these great ideas and we want to share them.
Yeah.
I think I used to be such a critical person. I was very judgmental on myself, on the world. I like perfection. I'm probably a little obsessive compulsive on some things. And I realized that's a standard that I can accept and play with.
Mm.
And yet it can cause incredible frustration for me if I'm not careful, as it has done in the past. It's taken me a lot of years to, I don't know, I've seen you grow and seen you learn, and you've gone through a massive change in the last couple of years.
Mm.
So, I mean, it's interesting. We go back to that risk taking and that vulnerability. And I think that's where it needs to start, because we see a lot of people, and I deal with a lot of my work side of things where they're still finding ways to get support. They need support. They've got support workers, and just little parts of their day or their week to have this one experience makes all the difference that I see anyway for that time. And then they might look forward to it for the next time. But I just see how important it is that you've got something to look forward to in your life.
Exactly. And it's the small wins as well. The people you hang around with. If you're hanging around people that whinge and complain all the time, a good chance you're going to turn into a whinger and a complainer yourself. For me personally, that was a big change for personal motivation, is surround yourself with people that are motivated to move forward. Your environment, if you're not happy with your environment, change it. Everything we put ourselves, or where we end up is, we can change those things. Unless you're sitting in a jail cell, you can change everything in your life.
Well, how much have we seen Reuben Hurricane Carter and Mike Tyson, Nelson Mandela? I mean, even through those, if you accept the stories verbatim, that they managed to change their lives for even 25 years of incarceration. So as I'm talking to these people on the podcast, I mean, it's interesting that their childhood experience directly affects their adult life.
Yeah.
And coming to terms with some of that. I guess that's one of the reasons why I'm enjoying doing the podcast, because it is such, surprising that I've known some of these people a long time and they're still sharing things with me. I go, see, that's why you have that. And that's why I like you. And that's why you work so hard, because seemingly the things they didn't get as a child are the very things they're offering from themselves. They've needed to become the very thing that they're searching for in life. And then you talk about this wanting to succeed and feel successful and feel this pride, because we've talked and you realize that hasn't necessarily been there. So now you're doing it for yourself and sharing it as well. And that's amazing.
Yeah, thanks, John. I think it all has its place. Like some people call it divine intervention or perfect timing or all that sort of thing. The power of attraction and things playing out the way they should. And I really believe in that sort of stuff these days.
Well, how many that wizardry and sorcery we talk about? I mean, it's real. I mean, it's not something kind of off to the left or woo woo.
Yeah.
Oh, that was lucky. It's like
yeah. No such thing as luck. It's or coincidence. It's synchronicity. We were even just saying this morning. You said a sentence to me this morning that I watched some famous person say yesterday on the computer. Exactly the same sort of stuff. So everything's connected, and the vibration of things and when they happen. People call it divine intervention or God or whatever it is. I'm not 100% sure. I won't know until this experience and this round's over, but I guess I believe in the magic, so to say, not like a wizard on TV, but the magic of life.
Yeah. And I think that's important. I mean, we talked a little bit about that religious connotation, and I'm not opposed to anybody that finds faith in something. If faith helps you and makes you a better person and helps you to grow, and you get that support through this innate sense of something bigger than us, I'm all for that. I mean, my whole process is like, yeah, but don't tell me, how good your deity is. Show me those aspects of that. And I think when we start to realize, I love the saying, if you see a painting, there's an artist. If you see a house, there's a builder, right? If you see a world, there's a creator.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that this creative influence that's there. And Dolores Cannon talks about that. I mean, Ed Casey worked through remote healing with people. There's something bigger than us that we can tune into. I mean, this vibrational aspect, this quantum reality, whatever we put out, seemingly we get back. And the ideals of thoughts versus feelings versus emotions, and how they can affect us on such a personal level. And two people can look at the same thing, beautiful sunset. Someone goes, wow, what an amazing sunset. And someone else goes, what a shit day. Yeah, I feel crap.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not all going to get the same experience. And I don't think we're meant to. So everybody's on this individual journey. And I think you and I want to share. We're at this place where we've got this feeling, and we want to bring people in, and we're asking for people's support, because it takes the village, to raise the child, or to change society's ideals. And we see a system at the moment, I feel, is broken, if it wasn't already broken to begin with.
Oh, I agree. The system is broken. The schooling system and the government systems are broken.
And I don't think it's
100% agree.
Yeah, I think there's amazing people out there, and sometimes it's the job. I mean, you wear a uniform. You and I have stood in security for a lot of years, and we got all the abuse. We got all that denigration of who, because we were doing a job, we were playing a role. Now, whether we believed in it or not, we were tasked, hey, this person has to go. Now, you got options about how that person's going to leave. And for some people, it's just force, it's just violence. And yet some of us took the time to talk and explain and try to rationalize. And sometimes it worked, and sometimes you had to go back to just blunt force trauma. But I mean, I guess, how can you play with all of those cofactors? What's available to us if we took the time?
And I guess that sort of makes me think about emotions versus expectations, and what's the reality of things versus what you feel about things. Because, like you said before about people can have different views on the situation. It's the day could be beautiful outside, but if you just receive some horrible news on your mobile phone, suddenly it's not a beautiful day anymore, and that's all because of your emotions. For me, they get inside me, and it's like, wow, it's amazing how much they can change the outlook of a day. Whereas, that same day, same weather, same people, same everything's at play, and you get a really good message from somebody about something in your life, I'm pretty sure that day, that day could go really well as well. So emotional maturity, I've been learning a lot about that lately, and try. It's easier said than done. But there's a big difference between making a decision based off the facts and making a decision based off your emotions at the time.
Yeah. And if there's a lot of outside influences that are predicated on fear and making people feel less than, and issues with money and issues with relationships, and if we're not able to kind of filter some of those things, then of course, if we're programmed to be a reactive being, if that fight-flight system is fully intact, then it's very hard to change those experiences for people if they're already kind of neurologically hardwired to go negative first. I mean, reactive first. It takes, as we're saying, with the practice. And so I guess us trying to slip something else in there as a backstop to just kind of counteract the fact that, is it that way? Is it
Mm.
really that bad? Is the world such a shit place? Are people just, I said to my son the other day, I said, do you think that people are the problem? And he's like, yeah, he's like, what about kids? Are kids the problem? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, do you think they're born that way, or do you think they get manipulated that way? I think they're probably manipulated that way. I'm like, yeah, right. So
There's
who's
the
doing the
answer.
manipulation? If the parents don't know, then the
Mm.
kids aren't going to have a clue either. And I'm not
No,
saying the answer is just to start saying mantras and the whole world's going to change. And yet, it wouldn't hurt. It's a good start,
no.
especially if you
Well,
do it long enough. It'll start to change it'll reverse the process.
well, it's positive. It's what you say to yourself over and over and over that happens. And we talked about the power of attraction and things like that. If you look in the mirror, I use this example, I think, when I was telling somebody at the gym the other day. I won't use the exact words I said. Um, it went along the lines as if you stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself I'm a fat whatever, or yuck, look at that, yuck, look at that. Well, that stuff's always going to stay there and it's going to keep being whatever you keep telling yourself you are. But even if you don't like what you see, you change the words, your biology will catch up.
Yeah.
It will definitely catch up. It's that positive intention and to love yourself. If you're staring at a mirror and saying horrible things about yourself at the start, it's not a very good start to get it started. If you know what I mean, it's that positive self talk, but easier said than done. Once again, especially if we've done something embarrassing or bad. I try not to even look at myself in the mirror. Yes, so we all go through it. I think, and that's what we're getting out is, it's raw, it's real, it's authentic. Say what you want to say. Don't be scared to express your feelings. Anger and things that bug us. I suppressed that so much in my life, and it came out all in one go. It's things like that. If you're angry and shitty about something, you don't want to bank it away and try not to think about it. You have to sit with it. You have to let that frustration out, even if you go and scream or tell a mate or go to the gym and punch a boxing bag or whatever. It's energy that's stored up. We've got to release it. Make room for the happy energy.
Yeah. If we know what that is. And I think that's part of the challenge, especially, I mean, as a male, I can only talk about the male ideals, but it's not something that we're used to doing is sharing our feelings, because feelings for men sometimes can be sensitive, and I feel weak, or I don't feel comfortable, and maybe another man doesn't want to support me. So it's interesting to learn those communications, like, hey, as we've done before, mate, can I have a little vent with you, right? And the idea is, when we say, yeah, just have at it. And I don't have to do anything. I don't have to fix another man's problems. I can just listen. And I know women are very good at that sometimes, probably more so than men. They can just listen to each other. And thank you. I feel better now. And I mean, we get to share. And I think our lives get so busy now. I mean, there's so much going on. If we're not being kind of subverted with weather issues or election issues, or there's more health issues coming, and the finances are going to have to change. I mean, it really just, wow, what have I got to look forward to? And if I don't have people that want to support me and listen to me, like I can see, like I said, it's not a great system, and you learn it very young, and you get bullied. I mean, I was bullied as a kid, and I'm thankful for it now. I can see the benefits of what bullying did for me. I was always in fear. Am I going to see that bully again? Is it going to affect my day to day? It was hanging over me. And those same ideals hang around today, whatever it is. And when we're being bullied, over the top by having enough. It's like going to the shops and there's no toilet paper, or there's no eggs. You know what I mean? It's like, how come there's, and we get told a story, and again, not to go down any of those kind of rabbit holes, but it's a basis that there's not enough. And so when there is, well, I'm going to take as much as I can, because I don't want to be left like next time and screw everybody else. And I think we start to see the system where we're not thinking kindly, because it doesn't come from the top down. There's no leadership there. There's no responsibility where the people in power or the people with money are giving back. It's just more and more and more, right?
Mm.
And that's, to me, I want to create an ideal, or create this kind of system where there's always enough.
Mm.
And we can find it if we're looking, and we can support one another and say, hey, I've got an excess here, or I saw down the road, and we're putting out those positive vibrations.
Mm.
We've got strong friendships. We've got happy intentions. We've got healthy ideals. We've got a loved community. I mean, you
Yes.
can apply all this experience right across the board, which is what I get excited about. And I want to talk about it. And I want everybody to feel that. Why not?
It's like all these little, as we go on, we learn these, oh, that worked for you. Oh, that's interesting. I might try that. And it, it almost comes, the lessons come at the right time, I guess. As we learn a lesson, another one appears, and all the sort of things happen in our life to give us that lesson. It's an interesting system, the way whoever's designed it. It's certainly not designed by the governments and the TV and the media. The TVs, every with especially the news. It's the information's pushed with fear and hope. You know, there's a fear factor and then there's a hope factor, and it's almost like propaganda, really. And then there's all this division of that, and lefties and righties and reds and blues. And when did it become like this? Or has it always been like this? Now, I think it's always been like this. I think we're just starting to realize, realize what's actually going on. And it's a system that's designed to have the rich get richer, unfortunately. I heard a thing on an interview just the other day, and it was talking about, why do we all vote for this person or that person? Why are we only choosing from a couple of people? And these couple of people we're choosing from most of the time are Muppets. I'm pretty sure there's lots of other people in this world that could, be more options, if that makes sense. But they're the option because they've got all the power and money and whatever backing them. So I don't know. It's I personally can't change that at the high end. So I just resign myself to, well, how am I going to survive in the bubble that I've created for myself? Not get wrapped up in watching who's going to win that election or that election. It is whoever's going to be is going to be. But it's not for me to get all angry and upset about it.
Well, it's a selection process, isn't it? I mean, if they're the lesser of two evils and you don't like him, so I'll vote for him. And what I find fascinating is every single vote is worth $3.38. So
Oh,
every
I didn't
time
know
they
that.
vote, that's how much money they're taking, right? So it's a money-making scheme again. And we start to
Wow.
see all this stuff. We pay our taxes, and yet we're still being asked to give more and more money out of it. And so imagine, I
And
mean, I think of a world, right? If we had enough money, if everybody had enough money, people had enough time, if they were in a job or in a career they love to do, how wonderful the society would be.
Yeah.
And surely, that's not a reality, that is not possible. And yet I see all of the systems, all of these programmings. You talk about the television, right? It's all programs, it's all channels. We're broadcasting, it's a network, right? It's a world wide web, all of these kind of indoctrinations and words and spellings that when we start to see for what it is, and I'm not saying everybody's got to be on that same page,
No.
but we all have a different version of what life is all about. And yet I've never met anybody that didn't appreciate kindness, that didn't want to have a nice, more time to spend with family and do things. And yet this is the pleasure seeking, isn't it? There's more addictions nowadays.
Yeah.
There's more pharmaceuticals being handed out to stop people from going, insane. And the only problem thinking that you're normal in all of this. And somehow I love it. It's perfect. And the only reason you'd love it is because you found your vibe, or you found your path to follow.
Yeah.
And that's I think, a very small aspect of that. And look, not, again, we're just talking, and I think this is important, that I don't want to just get up there and shoot a whole lot of ideals without any context around what it is. And we're human, maybe, you know what I mean? And we're all wanting to have this life of connection, of purpose, and raising our families, being in a strong community, going out there. I mean, our goal, we want to run concerts, we want to run a day, we want to bring people in. And this is two idealistic guys after 2 months, truly
2 months
in 2 years or 5, 10 years. I mean, this is going to grow. And we were just asking people just to kind of look at the whole scheme of things and going, look, if you could support a channel, or you could support an idea, what would that look like, right? And we're all giving. We give enough, right? There's no problems of giving, and people are taking as much as they can. And yet, is there enough for us all? I believe so. It's just finding a way to regulate it.
I totally agree, John. I think there's plenty for everyone. We've all seen those, little statistics they do, if all the money was spread out evenly and all the land was spread out evenly and all that sort of stuff. So there's more than enough for everybody. I personally think this overpopulation stuff is a bit of rubbish. Why? I don't even know why people are thinking about to end life in that sort of way. Yet we've got all these wars that do it for us at the moment anyway. But it's all it can be quite overwhelming if you go down and you look at all the negatives and stuff like that. And I think one thing I've noticed through my journey is, don't get me wrong, I went down all the conspiracy holes at one stage, and I got angry and I screamed at planes flying over my head and all sorts of stuff. So it's after the emotional roller coaster of we've been lied to, or I've been tricked, or whatever. It's well, what can I actually do about it? And what we can do about it is start with ourselves. We've got to get our mind sorted. There's who knows what's true nowadays with all the technology out there and AI and all that sort of stuff, artificial intelligence or ancient intelligence, depending on what way you look at it. So it all starts within. As above, so below. What's on the inside's on the outside. So that starts off with, the way you talk about yourself and other people. If we're judging people, I might have done a video about this, but whilst we're judging, we're not giving off that vibration of love. And it works the opposite way too. While we're loving, we're not giving out that vibration of judging. And that's not necessarily to say I'm judging that person walking down the street, but I'm not talking to him. It doesn't make a difference. It's what's coming out of your body. I might be looking out the window at somebody, judging them with a car full of people. That's my vibration. If it's that stuff we don't see. And anybody who's thinking, oh, whatever, cuckoo, wah, 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 what the hell do you call Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all that sort of stuff? Can't see that, but that's instantaneous. I can talk to someone on the other side of the world without a time delay. How's that possible? Who knows? Technology, old technology, new technology.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, that when phone battery goes down, we plug it in to charge it. And seemingly it's an external port, and we plug it in, and then somehow it's transmitting an energy, and we charge our phones, or we charge the batteries. So as a human, what are we plugged into? What are we getting charged with? And go to court, you get charged with a crime, or you get charged with certain ideals. And so we're kind of a cellular battery. And all those things we plug into every day, what are we tapping into? I mean, nowadays you don't have to plug it in. You can just put it onto something and it'll charge. So if we're up against something negative, we're receiving all of those negative experiences. And so it's no wonder later on, I feel frustrated, I feel irritable. You eat some food that's processed and full of chemicals, and you think, oh man, that's not sitting well. And you look at all the poisons that are being peddled out there and all the things that are in the supplements, and you don't know. And the clothes, I mean, our T-shirts, as we've done the research, they're 100% cotton. And as we know, Cotton is a beautiful transmitter of energy. It doesn't breathe well through plastics and polyesters and other things that, even though, even for bamboo, I just found it recently, the whole idea with bamboo shorts and stuff like that, not a good breather for your body, even though it's a natural fiber. So who knew? Yeah, but again, what a great idea. Hey, bamboo sounds good. And again, I'm not trying to put people off doing things. It's about a natural charge. If the water you drink is good charge and the food is good charge and the company is charged well, man, I'm going to have a good charge. I'm going to be charged. If I'm charged negatively, that's my output.
Yeah.
So again, we're promoting this ideal as that look around and just see how many things have an effect. The music was changed from 432 to 440. That's not something everybody knows about. And that goes from a natural frequency that really resonates to something that doesn't.
Like the Gregorian calendar, 20, the 28-day cycles. A woman has 28-day cycles.
Yeah.
The moon has a 28-day cycle. So technically there should be 13 months in the year for 28-day cycles, but somehow there's not anymore. And then they go on about climate change. Well, if they took out a month over the years, things are going to change because we've lost a month each year. So the climate's not even the same. How can you even match up those two things together? Money making.
Yeah, for control. And if you're going down that path, I mean, if you look at that 13 month, it started in April, right? Again, we talk about those ideals. September, Sept is 7, not 9, right? Oc is 8, not 10. November, Novus 9, Deci 10. I mean, again, the questions of just looking at it, just going along for the sake of going, well, I don't want to cause any problems. I'll just comply and I'll submit. That's why we have a subscription and a submission to things. So to just go along, and we're taught to be good boys and good little girls and not do anything wrong. And yet this is part of our challenge now of asking to stand up and be seen and know your rights. You can question anything.
And that's what we're doing with this podcast channel as well, is speaking about things that might be woo-woo or you're a bit scared to speak about. A couple of months ago, before, when I was thinking about this whole thing, I thought to myself, I'm not going to talk about conspiracy theories or any of that sort of stuff. Everybody's talking about them now. Joe Rogan talks about them all the time, so why can't I?
Yeah. Having the freedom, and this is great. I'm really enjoying, almost taking off some of these layers that I'm a little concerned, or I'm cautious that I don't want people to, hey, look, disagree with me all you like, right? I mean, that's part of the nature is like maybe not being liked.
Yeah.
Respect in the process. And I'm starting to see, man, if you want to put yourself out there for dissemination, then you don't have a right to say, please don't do anything negative towards me, because I'm inviting criticism. And I get that. And that's part of the conversation that I think if we don't talk about it, if we don't bring it up, it's why comedy, there's a parody law that protects comedy, because it's supposed to be fun, right? I can't go up to somebody and get on a platform and say horrible things about them, but I can dress up as them and I can act like them and imitate them, and I'm protected, right? So even in the laws, they knew that if we're having fun with it, if it's meant, but again, inclusive versus exclusive, and this so-called woke culture. I mean, again, we're certainly touching on some things, and moving forward, I think it's important we don't hide from these ideas.
No.
And we're only going to be strong, and we're only going to be happy and healthy and loved if we're able to show and not just talk about it, because it's not a religious concept. It's actually just an available source, and it's a practice. And if I make mistakes, I'm the first person to accept and apologize, because I'm not out to hurt anyone. I can do things that have a negative impact, but the intention didn't come from that. So that's where I feel I like to learn, because if I'm not just going to sit back and go, like you said, if you don't express yourself, that's, a consumption that's going to build up. That's dis-ease.
Disease. Yeah, it's when you put yourself out there, I guess that shows real, regardless of what, good, bad, publicity, whatever it is, you're putting yourself out there to start off with. I think that shows, bravery in itself. You can do that with everyday life. It's asking for things. Um, ask or saying no. This is this is one I've had to learn about. Or making a decision to do something when you're in a good mood, because then you're like, oh, I don't want to do that now. Little tips like that. There's lots of little things we can learn, but I don't know it all. This is me sort of finding my way as well with life, and a way to share it. And but I want to do it through positivity, positive self-talk, the stuff that really gets us going and up in the morning and has a good day. You have a good day from it. We all have bad days. I have bad days too, but it's whether you can get up the next day and try and change it and have a better day that day. So there's positive intentions to things, and try not to let yourself slide down that hill or that slippery slope, because that affects you more than you realize, and it affects the people around you as well.
We have an incredible impact within ourselves and our environment. I mean, my partner knows if I'm not feeling well. I mean, it's not just the way I look, but it's just the energy I'm giving off, right? It's the whole idea of what we feel about that. And again, thoughts are one thing, but then those feelings generate emotions, the energy in motion, and then that goes out of us. And anybody can see auras or see energetic vibration, will see that darkness, or that, like I said, the cloud hanging over our head. It's the impact of suppressing those feelings. And if you suppress long enough, well, hello, that's depression, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then we'll oppress other people, and then misery loves company. And before you know it, we're all sitting around crying, upset, and the world's terrible. But just like that,
morale spreads like a disease, doesn't it? Morale does spread like a disease, and that comes down to why you should surround yourself with good people. Especially if you're feeling down, surround yourself with people that are happy, and it'll change very quick. And that comes to connection. I think connection's a really, really, really important thing in life. And I've found out myself, I'll just go outside and go down to the shops to get a drink or something like that, and have a random connection with half a dozen people or whatever. I go away from those shops on my way back home feeling really good, and like, wow, oh, that was cool. Oh, what a cool person they were, or that was nice. It's connection, and you don't realize we connect in lots of different ways. It could be a look or a smile, or you might smile at someone. You never know, that could change their whole paradigm of how their day's been playing out.
You prove that. You walk around sometimes looking, down at people or whatever, and then all of a sudden you start to realize, flipping the paradigm, and then all of a sudden you get this, you smile at someone, they smile at you, or it does. It has an incredible effect if we give what we want. If we want connection, we seek connection. Get out of the house, get out in the sunshine. I mean, you're doing some breathing work now, and I'm excited to see where that's going to go, because even just some of the stuff you've shared about the breath, this is not common knowledge. And if if breathing is the one thing that we all do, and we need to do it, and yet we're not even given some of the raw basics of what it's there for. Just breathing in and out is not enough. There's so much to that. So that's exciting, and I want to see that sharing to the channel.
Well, I'm going to definitely share all my breathing stuff in the future. I'm still in the learning processes at the moment. I'm learning the science behind it now. So, I suppose as usual, I go full charge ahead and do these things, and then find out later on that there's a lot of stuff in the middle I missed out, a little bit like this company. But this is how we learn, by doing things that we haven't done, or we're scared to do, or whatever. I'm pretty excited about this breathing stuff. I'll be a certified facilitator. So that'll be pretty cool. But yet it's something we do every day, and nobody knows really much about it. As I've found out, learning all about it. Um, for example, breathing through your mouth and breathing through your nose. If you're a mouth breather, it's bad for your dental hygiene. Um, just giving you a couple of little things. If you breathe through your nose, you activate nitrous oxide in your system and regulate the temperature of the air that's going in your nose and into your lungs. So if you're in cold weather, that your nose regulates that temperature before it hits your lungs. Whereas if you're breathing through your mouth, it doesn't. So lots of little things like that.
And that's
If
not
you
easy for
breathe,
everyone, especially with a lot of
no,
congestion. We've got a lot of
yeah,
with deviated septums and things that are affected within our bodies.
mm,
So again, then we go, well, how do we then clear that? So I mean,
yeah,
there's layers to this, and we're not saying that everybody is going to step in at the same process,
no,
and
absolutely
that's
not.
exciting to be able to offer that. But look, this has been great. I've really had a ball. There's some things that I've said that I'm like, well, it's out there now, so I'm definitely looking forward
Yeah,
to seeing
yeah,
some reactions or causing a stir, or it's not about everybody starting and being in the same page, but to have a platform, to have a responsibility to lead from
yeah.
somewhere. If not now, then when? And if not me, then who?
And if you like what we're talking about and what we're doing and where we're going with this, we kind of know where we're going, but you guys might have a better idea where we should go. So we're more than willing to accept any sort of feedback. And if you do want to support us, buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, those
Come on, man.
proceeds not only, go to supporting this company and running the day-to-day. There's expenses, obviously, when all things that we do, we're finding ways to give some of those proceeds. So nearly a
Mm,
quarter of those proceeds can go to an organization that we're still building that list. So if you think of any people that might be able to, your money contributes to that. You can just donate. You can provide us with some funds if you feel like what we're doing is having an effect, or you see the benefits of that. And please drop us a line. Look, subscribe to the channel. That's very helpful. And all your likes help promote those algorithms as well. Because as we know, the more you like the channel, the more it puts the channel out there for more people to find and see. So that's can be very beneficial. So we'd appreciate
mm.
your support with that. We're certainly going to be doing more giveaways and more
Yeah.
opportunities to put the brand out there and just share our love and support out in the world, because I think at a time like this, it's challenging days. We're going to see some
Mm,
more really tough things come about. We're going to see some beautiful things come about as well. But it's the law of balance. It's the law of opposites. And
we
we
were,
want to get stronger with our experience and our voice. So we'd love to have you along for the journey. And yeah, we appreciate your time and energy today.
yeah. Come and vibe with this tribe.
Love it. It's about
Right.
inspiring people to make the change, and everybody's
That's
telling
it.
different stories. So we'd love to hear everybody's different versions and realize that, yeah, we're all helping
Yeah.
each other to get home, wherever that is. From
Love it.
Carl and myself, this has been John Reynolds with Strong, Happy, Healthy, Loved. Look forward to having you on the next one. Bye for now.